Hello, I'm Michael Cummin, and welcome to On Common Ground. It's a place where we'll regularly explore some of the ideas that become common to us all through work, news, family, friends, or shared experiences. Please subscribe if you'd like an update, as we've more episodes on the way. The other day, I had a flashback. A memory of being in an office where some of my colleagues used to wait with coats on at 5 o'clock, waiting for the boss to leave. Nobody wanted to be seen to go first. That was over 35 years ago, and maybe a different time. But even then, I'm glad to say that I'd go when my work was done. Later, I worked in an open plan office where one of the techniques was to bring 2 coats to work. One to leave on the back of your chair, the other to give shelter from the cold as you went home on time. It's funny how the metric of putting in the hours is still seen as a measure of commitment. And I have to admit, I'm more impressed by the person who gets the job done than someone who simply puts in the hours. Since COVID and working from home became the norm for many, the clock watchers have had it easier. Work can be done without someone looking over your shoulder. And now the only gimmick that some people are using is sending emails with a timestamp to make it look like they're working late. Yep, I know that trick too. What sparked this train of thought was a good friend sharing his irritation recently about an email from his boss suggesting that this week the team would have to step it up, put in an extra effort and give it 110%. Yeah, sounds like a motivational email straight out of Motivation and Leadership 101. Why was he annoyed? Because this wasn't the first time that he was subject to this call to arms. To be fair, he's good at his job, and he would be the first person I would leave to his own devices to get a job done. But it does sound like a case of someone crying wolf. Just how often can you call on people to give it 110%, to exceed their contracted hours because the existing work process isn't sufficient? I think if you spoke to any junior doctor, young solicitor or anyone else serving their time, you'd be made quickly aware that this wasn't very often open to negotiation. But for someone who signed up to a 37 or 40-hour week, is it fair for their manager to call fire when it's been more often a case of poor planning, lack of team focus, or even low morale? A poster on a blog I read the other day on a similar topic wrote, "So many managers have spent so long and so much effort in developing a false sense of urgency among staff that truly urgent business ends up in the inbox with everything else." That's a great insight. As I said, it's the business equivalent of crying wolf. If you're a manager and you don't define the difference between a genuine crisis and a manufactured one, your team will quickly tire of your motivational technique. To be fair, you may be driving your team on, creating a sense of urgency, but use it wisely. A whipped pony eventually gives up. Transparency, clarity, purpose, and information about what is really needed tends to work better. We've all been in situations where everything becomes an emergency, so we have to work all night. And when that's appropriate, go for it. There's nothing like that sense of accomplishment, team bonding, and downright joy from everyone getting something across the line. But don't abuse it. You'll stress your team, wear them out, and make them cynical. And they'll start timestamping their emails at midnight and bringing 2 coats to work when they eventually get back to the office. Thanks for listening. Please feel free to share this and subscribe to get an update on new episodes.